have an opportunity. All right, so we are recording. Hi, everybody. My name is Kelly Foster, and I am a Ruby ambassador on the Power team. And if you're not sure kind of what's going on, I just got back from Destin, Florida, from our immediate diamond, Julia Cartier's Ruby retreat. And so at the retreat, it really was very different. Some of you on this call have been to some events before with us, but it's the most, it was a very, very special event in that it was much more intimate. You know, when we go to convention and when we go to Super Saturdays and we go to Leaders Retreat, we're talking about thousands of people. This was 67 people on our immediate team. And having the opportunity to hear directly from the jewels on our team what works well for them, and to just have them be willing and able to share all that with us. You know, I was a sponge. I just took notes, and I just couldn't wait to get back and bring it all and share it with you guys. And so that's really just the idea behind this call, is just for me to have an opportunity to, while it's fresh in my mind, to share, you know, some of the highlights and what I'm hopeful that we can utilize and bring to our own team, and that's pretty much it. So for starters, I'll just tell you, we spent most of the time just on the beach, you know, sitting at the ocean, just really chatting with one another and getting to know one another. It's kind of crazy because on Facebook we see everybody, you know, in their posts, and so actually seeing them in animation and, you know, putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Okay, who is your upline and who is your immediate jewel? And so that was very, very cool. And I'm telling you, because I'm kind of a shy person, it's hard for me to, you know, put myself out there and talk to people that I don't know. It's definitely out of my comfort zone, but I know that about myself, and so I do it because I know it helps to grow me. And every person in that house where you think, oh my gosh, there's Julia Cartier or whomever, insert the name, they were kind and they were open and they were generous, and they're just normal people just like us, but they have been doing this business longer than us perhaps, and they have, you know, more nuggets of wisdom, and they were so willing to share them. And it was actually just awesome. It was such a good experience. And so on the first day when we got there, we really just hung out on the beach all day long, and then we had training that night. And so I kind of just took notes on the jewels that led each training, and on really the highlights and the things that I wanted to make sure that I brought back to you. So if you have something to write with, that's cool. If not, you can watch this back, because like I said, I'm recording it. But one of my very favorites, and you know, I feel like I'm name dropping all the time, but I don't mean to. I'm just people that I follow that I feel like they just have so much wisdom. But one of them is Ashley Kinzel, and it's the craziest thing in the world because she's new. You know, she's only been around March, April, 13 months. And when you talk to her, you're like, how do you know that? Like, it's like she's been doing this job for 30 years and she is like a guru. And, you know, her team, I mean, she's about to go Sapphire. She'll probably go Sapphire this month. If not this month, she'll go Sapphire next month. Her team has exploded. And the reason why her team has exploded is because she's very, very, very red. If you've not read The Color of Personalities, or if you're not familiar with that, we do a lot of, like, you know, I'll put maybe in the comments of this call, you know, like there are tests to kind of find out what is your the way your personality operates. What is something that happens naturally as a function of your biology. And so red personalities, remember those are the people I told you, I think in one of our other calls, the key word is money, right? They are business driven. They are goal oriented. They write a goal and then they figure out the steps to get to that goal and they do them. And she's very, very, very red. But she's also one of the people there who, you know, was very warm. So she's got that yellow side to her too. You know, she was willing to share and answer all of my questions. And I hope you watched, she actually did a guest live video on my page. And I just asked her if she'd do it. And she's like, let's do it right now. She just was willing to just give everything that she had. So she did one of the trainings. And her and Abby Warren, they talked about Instagram. And Instagram is something that's terrifying for me. And I've been very resistant. I have an Instagram and I've done Instagram before, but just playing. You know, I've never used Instagram as a means to an end for my business. I've never even thought about it like that. But on their team, they do Instagram as a means to an end. And I mean, big time. And so, if you haven't watched that live, watch that live because she's very methodical. She gives you just like the specific steps for incorporating it. But here's the idea. If you've been doing this business for a while, here's how you'll think about it. Facebook is your warm market. These are we started out with our inner circle, right? That's who was our Facebook friends. And then we got a little bit broader and then a little bit broader and a little bit broader. But Facebook is, for the most part, people that we know, for the most part. Instagram is when you tap out, and hopefully we won't, but when your warm market is like exhausted, when you have gone through your warm market and and you feel like, well, where do I go now? Instagram. So Instagram is your strangers. It's the whole world. There are people in Plexus who have gone diamond on Instagram. Simply by, it's still relationship building, but you don't have a warm market. You're starting with strangers. And so they're very strategic in how they do this. And they gave us lots of tips and lots of insight. And that's a whole call in and of itself. But I'll tell you what I committed to doing, because it's, you know, we all have to grow. We all have to identify where our weaknesses and go, okay, that's something that I can work on. And so what I'm committed to doing is bringing you guys the training. If you're open, you know, summer's coming and we'll have more time on our hands. But she has a girl on her team, and her name is Allie Mae Fletcher, and she is 80 pounds soaking wet and 21 years old, and maybe 22. And she sat with me at the hot tub and showed me how to turn my Instagram business page on, showed me what your Instagram, because this is all about attraction marketing. So your posts should be cohesive. They should draw the eye. Hashtagging, because when you hashtag, you're reaching people that are looking for those specific pieces of information. It's very much about branding. And so this little girl sat there and poured into me for 2.5 hours teaching me Instagram. And, you know, I've got some things under my belt. I'm committing to watching the videos and doing the training. And she has volunteered to do a call with us to just help us move forward with Instagram and incorporate that into our business. And so that's, like I said, it's a whole nother call, but I just want to let you know that is coming. In the meantime, if I can suggest that if you don't have an Instagram, get an Instagram. You know, it's like anything. When it's new, it's very foreign and it's kind of uncomfortable, but just start by getting some pictures on Instagram, you know, and play with it and get comfortable with it so that you know how to manipulate it. But she's senior gold. I'm like, well, in my head, I'm thinking, you know, she's young. Her audience is young. Like, what could her rank possibly be? And she won the trip. She was a wild card that won the trip. Each of the jewels got to bring a wild card, and that was somebody who was a business builder and so on and so forth. But she's senior gold on Instagram. I mean, that's something. And so that's coming. Her name is Allie Mae Fletcher. I suggest when you turn on, it's ALLIEMAE Fletcher. When you turn your Instagram on, follow her. and just start looking at what it looks like. Also follow Ashley Kinzel. Start looking at what her Instagram looks like. Follow Abby Warren. She's another one. Her Instagram is gorgeous. And so really what they're doing is they are just honing in on attraction marketing. And so, you know, in the meantime, while you're just kind of warming yourself up, just start following some of them and just start looking at, you know, what it looks like. Okay. So moving on from that, Mandy Martini did a training. I don't know if you know who she is. Anybody know? If you know, she is, follow her on Facebook. She's absolutely gorgeous. She's like one of the most beautiful like specimens like you see here and you're like, ugh. So she did this whole training on Facebook, attraction marketing. The graphics, which, you know, we use graphics in our posts sometimes too often. It's like it's an easy go-to, you know, when I want to tell you about BioCleanse, when I want to tell you about ease, when I want to tell you about ProBio 5, it's easy to grab a graphic. And so her training was on getting rid of graphics and taking your own pictures. You can still use graphics and save your graphics and have them to refer to because maybe that's the content you want to share. But her whole training was on taking pictures. And so she, you know, you want to take pictures in front of a window. Use your face. Doesn't matter if we don't look like Mandy or Amanda Martini, but there are things that you can do that are drawing people to the images that you're putting on. If you put this grainy, gritty, you know, played out graphic, people are going to just scroll by it because they don't want to look at it. But if they get to your feed and you have this stunning photo of, you know, your personal BioCleanse and you're holding it in the background, you have, you know, your house is clean. So here's what she says. You know, we're busy. Like we're moms, you know, and our houses are a mess. But, you know, once a week when you get your house clean and you've gone to church, come home and take 100 pictures, right? So you have a picture of, you know, your family room is put together, your hair is done, and take your pictures on, you know, you can have your hair down and then put your hair up and take, you know, 50 more pictures. You could take your pictures with, you know, one shirt on and then you can change your shirt real quick and put a different shirt on. So you have pictures in your phone that you can use throughout the week. Okay. So she talks about standing in front of a window because the lighting is ideal when you're standing in front of a window. She talks about using Perfect 365, which that's an app that I downloaded. I mean, like, these are all things like, I didn't know that even existed. Okay, that's a great idea. Aviary is another one, Aviary. Really, she was just sharing, you know, the value of having your own pictures and how much more that appeals to just people who are just zipping through Facebook. They really don't want to see our played out graphics. If we can do better to pull away from them, it's going to appeal to our audience and really that's what we want, right? But yeah, she's Amanda Martini. Follow her on Facebook and you'll see what I'm talking about. She's ridiculous. Her pictures are beautiful.
No.
Okay. Lindsay Russell, she is a diamond on our team as well. She is a yellow personality if you've ever met one in your life. And she talked about something that I thought was so valuable. She talked about the fact that nobody goes diamond on their own. We need our team. And so on our team, we have blue personalities, we have red personalities, we have yellow personalities. Remember, blue is that fun. It's all about the fun. You know, people who are going to see us down on the beach in Destin who are a blue personality are going to be like, okay, what am I missing out on? That's that whole FOMO thing, right? Fear of missing out. People who are red, they are like, okay, let's figure out how we can get our business to explode in May, and let's be strategic about it, so on and so forth. So if you haven't taken the color personality, I really hope that you'll do that. And on our teams, the idea is that I can't be red and blue and yellow and green for my whole team. I just can't. So we have to work together so that all of those needs are met, right? So if you're on our team and you are a strong blue, then I need you to, be the person that's going to, host a party, be the person that's going to, get us together. If you're a yellow, those are the people who just are wanting to help each other. You can see that maybe one of our teammates is struggling and, not sure of, what to post. Maybe their confidence is, kind of waning, and you're the person that's going to kind of help and reach out to those people. And so she really was just talking about just making sure that we know one another and know one another's strengths, and then utilizing one another's strengths. She talked about, because she is so yellow, she talked about stop selling and start loving on people. There's a quote that somebody posted a couple weeks ago that says, if you want to know how to make your first $1 million, stop thinking about how to make $1 million and start thinking about how to impact 1 million lives. And so, you hear that from Plexus all the time, that we are in the relationship business. We are in the life-changing business. We are building relationships and empowering people and encouraging people, and selling Plexus happens as a result of us being really good at being in the people business, being others centered. She's somebody that when you are in the room with her, you just want to go curl up in her lap. And like, she brought her baby. She was nursing her baby all weekend, and she just carried her baby around in her arm and nursed the baby all weekend and just loved on people that were there. And it was just actually a beautiful thing to watch. She talked about staying positive, because that's attraction marketing, right? People don't want to be around people who are negative and people who are going to drag them down and make them feel bad. People want to be around people who are going to lift them up and encourage them and support them. She's talking about being influential, and this is a great story I'll share with you. This is something that I really have to be cognizant of and grow in, because I know I'm much more comfortable being quiet and staying in my own little corner. Going to a brand new school, it's easier for me just to hide in my own little corner. I don't know you guys. I don't belong to your group. And so it's easier for me just to be kind of reclusive. But she talks about going into new situations and saying, I'm going to be an influencer. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to be a person of influence. And so you do that by asking questions. People like to talk about themselves. Asking questions, making eye contact with them when they talk to you, paying people compliments, then that's stuff that draws people to you. If you are a person of influence, they're going to want to buy whatever it is that you're selling, right? They want what you have, right? Because that's stuff that feels good. She talks about never apologizing. We should never apologize for sharing Plexus and for affecting people's lives positively and bringing them something that has the power to change their health and quality of life. She talks about being the last person to leave the room. I'm reading a book right now called The Hard Hat. And it's the story of a Cambridge lacrosse player who got hit in the chest with a lacrosse ball and died. And he was a person of influence. This is like in the 1990s, and his team, still to this day, 25 years later, still gets together to remember him and to pay his respects and to reach out to their community in his name, because he was a person of influence. He was the first person to the locker room and he was the last person to leave. He picked up everybody else's trash. He led by example on the field. He didn't complain. And so that's the message that Lindsay Russell had to share, and it really spoke to me. She talked about, your Facebook page, your influence. It's as if you are at a cocktail party. You're hosting a cocktail party, and your Facebook page is your cocktail party, right? You want people to feel like they are welcome, that you want them there, that you have something to offer them. Okay, so I'm gonna move on. This was from, I can't think of her name right now, but this is fabulous. So if you haven't taken any notes, take a couple notes, and we're going to revisit this kind of like the Instagram thing, because I think that we are missing out on a huge opportunity. And we've touched on this a little bit before, but this is really practical steps for business building. Okay. Holly Devers. Okay. This is from Holly Devers, and this is what they do on their team. It's genius. We talked before about how you get people posting, right? And so, and what do you do with that at that point? So they invite people to post. And when they invite people to post, they give them the script. They give them the verbiage. This is what you're going to post. And in this post, you don't mention the word plexus. You don't say the word plexus anywhere in the post whatsoever. And so the script sounds like this. I've been having trouble with fill in the blank, migraines. My friend Rochelle has been using these all natural products, and she's found a ton of success. Her IBS symptoms have gone away. I can't wait to see what kind of results I'm going to get. And it's completely that FOMO thing, right? People are like, well, wait, what is it? What am I missing out on? What's happening here? It's that curiosity marketing, and it drives people bananas. I don't know if you guys saw when Sylvia did her very first Plexus post. People were like, well, what is it? And she didn't answer them right away. And they were like, what is it? 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 Right? They want to know what they're missing out on. So here's what they do next. When people say, what is it? Okay, in the comments when people say, well, what is it that you're taking? I want to know. The reply is, I'm going to private message you. Okay, so in the private message, when you private message that person, you say, I'm going to put you in a three-way chat with my friend Teresa. I'm still learning, and she knows a ton about this product. And then they put Teresa and their friend that asked about it in a three-way chat, and Teresa does all the talking. And so in doing that, we're going to call them, newbie, whatever. Hopefully it's somebody who is, trying to get their products covered, or looking to potentially go silver. They're going to learn the verbiage. They're going to learn the language. And guess how many people in that comment are going to say, well, what is it? Because of the curiosity, because of the FOMO. 10 of them. So from that one post, you have 10 three-way chats with Teresa and potentials. And she said, it works. It works all day long. So getting one of your newbies to be brave and bold and do that post, you're giving them the verbiage and you're doing all the work for them. And in that three-way chat, they have an opportunity to learn, well, how do I handle a cost objection? How do I handle, this question or that question? And so we'll revisit that in another training or in another call, but because I want to just go through everything, but I thought that was genius. Okay. So let's see what time it is, because I don't want to go too long here. Okay. Action steps for moving forward. People who are, this is kind of new, fascinating to me. Teams that are growing and ranking up, which, by the way, we're doing awesome. We are doing fabulous. But I think that we're doing fabulous and we are doing so well and we don't even know why, right? We're doing some things really well. And so kind of putting a name to what it is that we're doing well and identifying where we could do better is going to help us all the more. I'm not all that red. I think I'm a little red. Here's the thing that's weird about me is I'm red and blue. I'm not blue. I'm red and green and yellow, like all the same. So I've taken that test like 100 times and I'm just so split in there, which makes me kind of an odd person, but it is what it is. So if anybody's red and you want to raise your hand and, kind of link arms with me and let's get this team to bust out. I would love that. So here's the general rule, is growing your business by 20%. And so that means looking at your points, looking at your ambassadors. As a general rule, that's like ideal. And so when you look at, okay, this is what I did in April, or here's what I did in February. Here's how many points I ended up with in February. Here's how many points I've ended up with in March. And look at that margin. And that margin should be 20%. If that margin is 5%, that's a problem, right? If it's 0%, that's a real problem. And so, well, what can we do to make sure that we are meeting that 20% every month? Because that's what's going to get us to emerald and to sapphire and to diamond. And you know what? We're all going to get there at some point, but that's what's going to get us there more expediently, which is, I think, what we want, right? We're business people. Most of us on this call, or if you're even curious, you're wanting to explore, well, how can this business benefit me? And I don't know about y'all, but I want to get to emerald like yesterday, because that pool, that emerald pool, that's big money. That's like, it's big money. This is all life-changing money, but for me, that's like, I'll be happy with, I want to go sapphire and I want to go diamond, but emerald money for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's just crazy. I want to get there. And I know you all want to get there too. So I'm going to throw out to you kind of the things that I wrote down, because a lot of you have little, you have your own teams. And so these are things just, for you to think about and to mull over. And here are some of the things that they shared with us. And I've said this before, help your team rank up. I'm looking around on this page, how can I help you rank up? How can I help you get to gold? How can I help you get to senior gold? How can I help? And we all have to be, Julia Carty said this, nobody got diamond on their own. There's not one diamond who got diamond on their own. You have to reach down. You have to reach down. You have to look down. You have to be others focused. If I help you go gold, that helps me go senior gold, right? If I help build 5 silvers on my team, that's going to help my golds turn into golds, right? And so we have to be others focused. If you reach down, that's the culture that you want anyway, right? That's the culture that is going to bring us together anyways. And that's how we're going to rank up, right? Is by just helping your team rank up, helping your team. What kind of incentives here's another thing they talk about. You're starting to make some money. We're starting to make some money here. If you take that money and you put it in the bank and then you turn away, you're missing a huge opportunity, because we should be investing back into our team. We should be pouring back into our team. This is something that I thought was kind of genius, is running a good challenge. If we always incentivize people for adding ambassadors instead of incentivizing people for action steps, we're sort of missing the mark, right? Because it's the action steps that are going to ultimately help us to build a team. Are you doing your daily IPA? Are you doing your follow-up? Follow-up is critical. This is a beautiful analogy. This was Ashley Kinsel again. In that first month, and how many of you have felt like, okay, I'm bothering this person, I'm driving this person crazy, right? We've all felt like that. But I think that's the wrong way to look at it. So here's the analogy that she said, okay, when you go to a fine dining restaurant and the waiter or the waitress brings you clean dishes, they refresh your water, they talk to you about the choices on the menu, they tell you what wine is going to pair well with that choice. They come back and see how you are enjoying it. They come back to see if you would like more wine, if you'd like to try something different. And they are creating a dining experience for you, and you're going to probably want dessert, right? Or you're probably going to come back. If you go to a restaurant and you see your waiter or waitress one time and your water's out and you don't know what goes good with what else, you might order the wrong thing and you might not like it, right? And so that's the analogy. We are trying to create a relationship. We are creating an experience with them. And so keeping that line of communication and in doing it without, I mean, we don't have to be like a pain in the butt to say, hey, I care about you. I want to make sure that you're staying off the scale. I want to make sure that you are managing your die-off symptoms. I want to make sure you understand that die-off symptoms means your products are working, and that is perfect. And so it's just kind of changing your mindset. If you feel bad about it, that they're going to sense that from you, right? If you feel bad about it, then they're going to feel kind of bad about it too. But if you go about it as if you are creating that experience for them and that you have their best interests at heart, then they're going to order dessert from you, and they're going to come back next month when they want to, another amazing dining experience. Okay. I don't want to forget to tell you this. Reconnect with white lines in a non-plexus way. And we have, you guys, I know we've reached out to them the last couple months because we're like, don't forget to get registered. Don't forget to register. Don't forget to register. Now we have people who registered and maybe some that didn't. But now we have FOMO at play because we have brand new products, and I'm going to talk to you about them in a minute. But all of our white lines, this is why this month our team could blow the roof off, because all of our white lines who've been just sitting back quietly, now we have something that is brand new and that probably they're going to want. And so we also have, I don't know if you saw or not, but originally they had to be registered to get the VIP package. And I guarantee you, we have a ton of people who didn't register. They don't have to have registered now. So people who are your white lines, people who are in your back office, reconnect them in a non-plexus way, but make sure that they're plugged into our team pages, because I am blasting it with, the Joyome information, because this is crazy good and they're going to want it and they can get it, right? And so your white lines, I think our white lines are going to, we have an opportunity to really decrease our white lines this month. I'll tell you, last month we were 50%. 50% of our ambassadors were white lines. 50% of our ambassadors were commission qualified, and about 35 to 40 were underqualified. So if we can take that 50%, it was 130 ambassadors that had zero PV. If we can get 20% of them to be like, okay, let me get back plugged in here. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's huge, huge potential there. Okay. So back to feeling like you don't want to bother people. So this was, again, Ashley Kinzel, and here's her litmus test, and she said it works. So you want to write this down. So those people that you have reached out to and you're saying, I feel like I'm bothering them, and, I have reached out to them in a non-plexus way, and I'm not hearing back from them, and I'm getting crickets. So here's the litmus test. This is the message that she sends, and it's just, it's a feeler for, okay, where they are. And so the message is simple. Hey girl, I hope, and I'm not comfortable with hey girl, but that's, I don't know, that's the way, change it for what you're comfortable with. I usually say hey friend or something like that, but hey girl, I hope I'm not offending you, ? That's it, because you're feeling like, okay, you're not answering me, so I must have offended you in some way. And they most certainly don't want you to think that they've offended you, but they're going to come back to you and let you know, you haven't. I have been busy, or you haven't. I have fallen off the wagon, but it opens the door. If they don't respond to that, right, because it's a question, if they don't respond to that, then you kind of know, oh, guess I did, right? But it's a great litmus test. And so those people who are just not responding to you, there's that. Okay, so I want to talk about two more things. So this month, I talked to you about reaching down and, you know, helping your team rank up. These teams that I just spent 4 days with are silver starter crazy. They build silvers. That's what they do. And so if you're building silvers, we've talked about this before, if you're building silvers, you're locking people into your team, right? People don't know what they don't know. And so when we plug them in, when we ask them to post, and I'm going to do it for you, I'm going to take care of it for you, I'm going to give you the script, you don't even have to think about it. People are going to ask you what this is, and I'm going to do all the work for you, right? When you build silvers on your team, you're going to rank up, right? Because you're helping them to rank up. And we can do a better job at that. And so to get started with this, in May, this month, I feel it's January all over again. Remember how excited we were and our momentum, and it was crazy. This month, it's the same, if not bigger. We have the opportunity to get our white lines plugged back in with Joyome, and they're gonna want to be plugged back in. We have $9.99 ambassadors, right? You want to join Plexus and you've been kind of on the fence. Welcome to a $25 discount because you can sign up for $9.99 and you're a wholesale ambassador. There have been a lot of questions. You do not have to buy the Joyome welcome pack. The $9.99 membership fee is for any ambassador. So if you've had somebody that's on the fence, you have an opportunity to bring them in for $9.99. If you have somebody who wants Joyome, they can't have it unless they become an ambassador, right? It's only available to existing ambassadors or brand new ambassadors. So we're going to have people, we need to be like talking about the Joyome until like people are like, okay, I have to have that, because I'm going to tell you in a minute how good it is. All right, so we have Joyome for our white lines. We have Joyome for people who want it but can't have it unless they're a new ambassador. We have $9.99 incentives for new ambassadors. And this is what happened last year. Last year at the big reveal, remember they had the brand new pink drink, and you could only get it if you were an existing ambassador or if you signed up to be an ambassador, and then they could get it as part of a welcome pack. And then we went to convention and they rolled out the other new products, and it was widely available, and our businesses blew up. Strategy, it's the exact same thing. And so we have to hone in on it, and we have to harness it, and we have to use it. I'm going to talk to you about Joyome in 1 second, but first I want to talk about, so here's two opportunities in May, or another opportunity in May. You may have already saw a little bit about it, but we are doing a 30-day challenge. Well, it's not 30 days anymore because it started in May, and it's, sorry, I'm answering Lisa really quickly, and I can't talk and type at the same time. It's called Silver de Mayo. How fun is that? Silver de Mayo? Somebody who's blue thought of that, right? It's very fun. And so we have to be using stronger language with our newbies and our, let's get you silver. This is going to be fun. This is not a challenge. This is not hard. It's Silver de Mayo, for Pete's sake. It's fun. There's going to be some teaching, some hand holding, but it's going to be fun. There's going to be prizes and incentives. And on this challenge, we, Bethany Spears, her team gave it to us. They did it last year, and so they did it again. They're doing it again this year, and it was crazy good for their team. Their team exploded, and they gave it to us. So we have the whole challenge. All we have to do is fill it. We have to plug people in. And so anybody that you have that, even if they're not sure, let me get you in the challenge, and let me get you on the page, and let's see what you think of it. You know, they're not committing to, their firstborn child by getting put into the page, but they're going to get a lot. It's going to be fun. There's going to be action steps. There's going to be scripts. We're going to help them go silver. De Mayo. Nobody's, thank you, Teresa. Okay, all right, so use that. Let's get people in there. Let's flood that page with our silvers. Let's build some silvers. Guys, there are people winning like corporate trips on silver stars, on building silvers on their team. We can help our newbies go silver, right? We can do that. Well, we can certainly do a better job. So let's get everybody we can into that challenge. It's super easy. On our page, there's that graphic that says Silver to Mayo. If they put their name right below there, then we'll get them on the page. Or you can message me, and I'll put you on the page, and then you can add them. Okay, but let's get them all in there. So that's that. It's Tina and Kay down. So it's not Brandy down, it's Tina and Kay down. So it's our team, Lisa's team. It's really fun. It's going to be really cool. Okay. So let me talk to you about Joyome really quick. I have my notes on my phone, so I have to turn that page on. So okay. So it's 2 products, and just if you're feeling kind of weird about it, because we are the gut health company, here's kind of the way that I thought about it initially is this is genius, and it makes so much sense because your skin is your body's largest organ. You have 1,500 microbes for every square centimeter on your skin. Okay, our skin has a huge microbiome. It's full of microbes. And so it is a natural step. To me, it makes perfect sense. Your skin is your body's first line of defense. It makes perfect sense that they would make a product for our skin. And so the way that Joy Biome works, like you probably have heard, there's 2 serums. There's a morning serum and a night serum. And so it's not probiotics. When you find probiotics in skincare products, those are dead microbes. And what good is that going to do? So it's prebiotics and polyphenols. It's ingredients that are going to help your skin to increase. There's, let me tell you the names because I won't be able to remember them. Oh, it's on my phone. So we want to increase, if I say this 100 times, I'll be able to say it. S. epidermidis. That's the good microbe that's on our skin that we want to increase. It's S. epidermidis. And we want to decrease S. aureus. And so the particular prebiotics and polyphenols in our Joyome do just that. And you know Plexus Integrity, Plexus Scientists, and Plexus Research, they've done the clinical trials. That's how they roll. They invest in the science in Plexus. Like, we don't roll out a product without having proof, without having done the research, without having clinical trials. And if you haven't watched that video that I posted, the dermatologist who joined our team, her credentials are insane. She's like a Harvard, I can't even remember, like Harvard, wherever. She's like a highly sought after professional in this industry, and she's working for Plexus. It's crazy. Okay, so a couple of things. In Europe, there are close to 1,400 ingredients that are not allowed to be in skincare. They're not even allowed in their skincare. In the US, there are 11. Okay. Joyome has 1,300 no deal ingredients. So we are abiding by the European standards of skincare. Our products have a hypolipid delivery system. So most skincare products have a petroleum-based delivery system, which we know is not a good idea, right? We don't want petroleum products on our skin and that being our delivery system. So it is a patent pending hypolipid delivery system. Our products are plant-based. So these are the most natural, without being chemical, skincare products that they can possibly be. So there are 11 products or 11 ingredients, I'm sorry. The 11 ingredients are clinical levels. So when you watch that video, she was saying how most products, they want that ingredient listed on their ingredient panel because it makes it look like it's a good product, but they're not at clinical levels. So you're not going to get the benefits because it's too expensive. So the amount of that ingredient might just be like, you know, a little bit just so that they can get it on the ingredient panel. Every ingredient in Joyome is at clinical level. So there are 11 clinically tested at clinical levels in our ingredients. That's it. But geez, oh Pete, I spent a few minutes today in back office looking at the shareables. There's just so much. You know, it's going to take us time to wrap our brains around all of this information. But there is so much information out there. And so when you have the time, watch a video. You know, I know maybe you feel like you're being inundated because it's on all of the pages, but we have a lot of people that are on our page that are not on Brandy's page, that are not on Lisa's page. And so, and I think we don't see everything that's out there. So I don't want you to feel inundated, but I want you to get the information. There was one that I posted today that has the video from the dermatologist, and I wish I had her name written down, but that's it. I want you to watch that one. In the comments, there is a ton of talking points that I posted for you. There's also a shareable that has the ingredients that I just talked about that I posted in there. But I mean, there's no lack of information. You know, our company is transparent. They say, look at what we did, and they give it all to us. And the dermatologist, she was saying the way that these products were tested, there are 4 different tests that I have it right here. Okay, a cutometer. I'm not even gonna be able to read these. I wrote them down. But there's 4 different tests that they do. They measure the moisture in your skin. They measure the firmness in your skin. They measure the barrier of health, your health barrier, because how well your barrier is going to protect, you know, toxins from entering the skin. They measure the pore size, the radiance, and the clarity. And so in their clinical studies, she was saying how it's a very, very, very rare to have this measurable data within 7 days, and our products have measurable data within 7 days. All of those before and after shots, those are Plexus ambassadors that were product testers. So they legit just were using the products, and those were their legit before and afters. So I'm excited. I mean, I think it's pretty amazing. It saw a reduction in your in skin allowing toxins in. I mean, who doesn't want that, right? Your skin is your doorway to one of the doorways to the inside of our body. And so one more layer of protection, right? What questions do you have? I talked a lot. Feel free to unmute yourself. Hey, Teresa.
Hey, just going back to when you were talking about, and I don't know if you want this as far as a recording or whatever, but with your white line people, and you said if you haven't talked to them a while, reach out in a non-Plexus way, but then we talked about reaching out about Joyome. If it's been a long time, say 6 months, and they haven't responded to anything, and they're still active ambassadors as far as their year's not up, where do you think you would go with that?
You know, that's hard because only you know the relationship that you have with that person.
And some of them, you know, haven't responded to anything that I sent to them.
I would say, if they haven't, then I would say, I would say, hey friend, I hope I haven't offended you. That would be my next reach out.
Okay.
I would use that litmus test. You know, I would not message them again and say, hey, did you see my new product?
Right.
I wouldn't. I would definitely, you know, anybody who just hasn't responded to you, are we okay? I hope I haven't offended you, you know, and that would definitely be my next contact.
Okay. because with some of them, it was a message that we had on a previous call about how I've learned so much more since the beginning, and I might have messed up and didn't guide you the way I should have in the beginning, and blah, blah, blah. That was from one of our previous calls. And that's, with some of them, that's the last thing I said. So I guess asking if I offended is probably the next one.
I mean, yeah, because I think people don't respond when they don't know what to say, you know, but when you ask them a question and the question is, have I offended you? It's pretty hard to not answer, you know?
Yeah, the question's personal, so they're going to want to respond to that. I think that's brilliant. I can't wait to do that.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about Instagram? How open are you to doing this training if I bring Allie Mae Fletcher over to do? It's super exciting. It really is.
I think super hesitant, but if we're going to get the right direction, I would dabble.
I mean, it's something new. So start dabbling now, right? Because it's something new, and it's going to be uncomfortable, and there's going to be a learning curve. So start dabbling now. Follow these people, and play with it, you know, and
it's not even the technology on that I'm so like hesitant about. It's just being responsible for yet another thing, keeping up with something else. That's my.
Well, you know, you can on Instagram, you can have your Instagram post go right to Facebook. So it's one post double doing, and you can hit both.
Yeah, but that's kind of defeating the purpose, because the reason why we want to reach out to Instagram is because we want a new audience. So putting up one post on Instagram and then putting it on Facebook.
But that might be two different groups of people that you're reaching.
Yeah. I mean, if you're strategic about that, you know.
Because my Instagram is not the same as my Facebook.
I would say most people, and I know mine was this way and is this way because I'm brand new to it, is my Instagram is all my Facebook friends, because Instagram was very kind to me. It said, oh, your Facebook friends are on Instagram. And so I don't have strangers on Instagram. I have all the same people. So I think once you get to that point, then that might be an efficient tool. But I think you'll see that the mode is different. It's different. Instagram's a different language, sort of.
I think it's hard to. I've started using Instagram more, and I kept clicking the button where you could post also to Facebook. But I think a lot of the same people, to your point, see it, and I think they're very different. Like you would write almost a story on Facebook, where on Instagram you're going to do mostly hashtags and a quick comment. So I think they're very different. And I think, you know, to Teresa's point, it is overwhelming to try and post to both. And so I guess what I've tried to do is, and I haven't been consistent, but maybe one day be on Instagram, the next day do Facebook, you know, and I don't know, just a thought.
Well, I mean, you start small, right? You start small, and then as you get comfortable with it, kind of what I have committed to right now is I do 2 posts a day on Facebook. I do a personal post and a Plexus post most days. So just as a general rule, that's kind of my comfort level. Right now on Instagram, I have committed to 1 a day, and they are different. They're definitely different. And so that's something that I can manage. It's new. And when I create content, I spend a lot of time on it. Like, it doesn't take me 20 minutes. It takes me a long time, because I'm creating content that somebody else cares about. I'm trying to create content that somebody else is going to be interested in. And so that's not something that I can whip out in 20 seconds or, you know, 10 minutes. I spend a lot of time on it. And so right now that's 3 posts a day for me. And, you know, I'm like, is my picture clean? Do I need to blur out the background? Do I like this color? Do I like that color? And so that's the attraction marketing thing. And the more you do it, I think the better you get at it, and then you can do it more quickly. But, you know, summer's coming. And so hopefully, you know, I think, you know, I'd like to bring Allie Mae on that call in June when we're like, okay, let's look at Instagram. So if you dabble, if you look at it, if you play around with it between then and now, when she comes, maybe you'll be ready to be receptive and be ready to be a little bit strategic. And, it's baby steps. That's what we're doing, right? It's growth and moving forward and forward motion. And we're not going to be experts at it on day one, but it's forward motion. And so for what that's worth, I do feel like my warm market is very, I've messaged everybody, And so where do I go next? That's where I go next. By the way, I also made my Facebook page public this weekend because I raised my hand and I said, okay, you guys help me with this. What do you recommend? Because last summer I was in the back of my head thinking, okay, I need to make my Facebook page public. I was terrified of doing it. For those of you who are not sure why I would even be saying that, we are under FDA and FTC regulation, Federal Trade Commission, and we're using Facebook as a business platform, and so we have to be FDA and FTC compliant. And so when your Facebook page is public, you are under that scrutiny. And so, that's kind of terrifying in the beginning. And so you're like, okay, I'm going to keep my profile private so I don't have to worry and sweat that. And that's okay until you're ready to do otherwise. But I'm ready to, try to reach a larger audience. And so when I asked that question, they all went, well, public, of course. And I was like, oh, all right. So, that's forward motion. I'm getting uncomfortable. I'm doing something, new, which is going to be more time consuming because I have to make sure that my post is compliant. And that's why, here's another thing that they said with Facebook, Instagram is the old Facebook. So we used to be able to, openly sell our products on Facebook. And then the FTC and the FDA started kind of coming down on us, and we have to be compliant. We can't put our prices. Instagram it's built for you to do that. They have built into Instagram branding. They have built into Instagram business pages. And so Instagram is letting us do that. And so for us to not take advantage of that worldwide platform, so with Facebook, we have to be careful, and we have to be this, and we have to fit into this nice little Facebook box. With Instagram, you don't have to, but with both of them, we have to be aware of attraction marketing. That makes sense. Anything else? How did your Cinco de Mayo party go? The pictures looked awesome. You're smiling at me and nobody's talking to me. Alrighty then.
The margaritas were great.
Were they drink margaritas or were they just regular margaritas?
No, they were regular.
Okay.
No, we had a great time.
Good. That looked fun.
I have one more question, Kelly, for sure. When you were down there, did you guys talk about, because I think this came up maybe on another call about you guys putting in a good word for the change of a convention date being after school gets out, considering they've marketed to so many teachers, but that the North is not out of school till later than the South.
I
would bring that to their
if that attention. Was I wasn't part of that conversation. If that was a conversation, mm-hmm. My gut reaction is that
I know they're not going to.
We're too small for, Yeah, our community, our Michigan community we do have a lot of teachers, but there are a ton down south of military families, who do this, and lots of stay-at-home moms who do this. And so our little niche of teachers, I don't think is big enough for Tarl and Alec to go, hey, that Michigan pocket of teachers, we need to move convention for them.
Is it just Michigan, or are we the
I don't know. I mean, there are some, you see them, there are some teachers, but I don't know that we're big enough for, because, teachers down south and teachers out west, they don't get out quite as late as we do. And so I think we kind of have it is kind of stinker, I know. That would be perfect though, if they would move it.
Hey, Kelly, I have a question.
Sure.
The $9.99 special price, do they have to order a welcome pack to get that
Yes.
price? Okay.
Yeah.
That's
As
what
a
I
matter of
thought.
fact, when they go through their back office, you order your welcome pack, and then you check out. If you put that promo code in, it won't even come off if you don't have a welcome pack in your. Yeah, they have to order a welcome pack. It doesn't have to be Joyome though. It could be Triplex. Yeah.
I was wondering if this new Joyome is okay for kids. I assume that it is, but just checking if kids have issues, skin issues or eczema, does it work with any of those things?
You know, they didn't talk about kids, but like I mean, the ingredients are you know, as natural as can be without, and be effective without being, you know, synthetic and chemicals. And, you know, what they're measuring and is, you know, an increase in good bacteria and a decrease in bad bacteria, skin barrier, and all of these things. So how could, I don't see how that would be harmful to children, that would be good for
The
them.
night one has retinol in it. I don't know that they would need that.
No.
Maybe. Yeah, so
I
I
didn't
would
look
say
at the
only the
ingredient.
day.
It's not retinol. It's not
It's a-
retinol. It's a natural, and it's on the ingredient panel, but they explain.
I listened to her videos though. It was like a retinol.
Yeah, but it's not retinol that you get like when you go to the dermatologist, and it's a retinoid.
Yeah, but I mean
but
very
it's not
similar. Like
typical synthetic retinol.
yeah, I just don't think kids would need that. Maybe the daytime stuff.
Well, Delphine's friend has already like covered in spots, pimples, and
Eczema?
acne.
Or
No,
acne.
acne. It's like she needs it from the inside, obviously.
I was gonna say, is she on the ProBio?
Oh, I just talked to them. I've talked to her, the mom, a bunch of times, but I gave her one this weekend to try, and she liked the taste, so that's good because most of the kids do not like the taste.
When we go to convention, we will get a ton of training. I mean, in the meantime, I would suggest, you know, watching the videos, reading the digital brochures, you know, just go through what's available, but they'll share a lot of training with us, and we'll have more to offer when we come back from convention.
Okay.
What was the link to, like I was on that one page where it was probably 6 videos of I think it's Dr. Zand, and she was talking. And then I couldn't find that again later in the day. I don't know how I got
I posted
to it.
it on our page.
On the page? Okay.
Mm-hmm. If you go to the Power Team, I think it's the last Joyome post that I did. In the video, the Joyome video is in the comments, but in the post itself is her video. And then I also put a ton of talking points in the comments, but it's the last Joyome. There's some good stuff in it.
And that gets you to that site where it has, like it was one page and it was probably
it's
6
the Joyome
videos.
website. It's on that post.
It's on that one. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't find it later in the day after.
I can tag you in it when we're done
Okay.
here.
Awesome. Thanks.
Sure. All right. Anything else? Questions, comments? Silver de Mayo. Get your people in Silver de Mayo.
Silver de Mayo, just so you know.
Silver de Mayo. Well, I don't have a Spanish accent, but
no, but DE is day in Spanish.
So it's not Silver de Mayo. De Mayo.
Silver de Mayo.
Okay, I'll work on my Spanish accent.
Okay, muy bien.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Adios.
Love you, ladies.
Bye. Adios.
See ya. Oh, one more thing. We are way behind on, what month is it? It's May. On April incentives. We're going to do those tomorrow. have ambassador, adding ambassador drawings, and we have commission qualified, and so we're gonna do those tomorrow. Just FYI, in case anyone's wondering. I was at the beach. It was a crazy weekend. All right. Well, bye, girls. See ya.